Ms. Davies appears in the courtroom to prove that the defendant, Mr. Hunter, is the father of her son. He called of their wedding because of certain rumors of her past that have now made him believe that Ms. Davies has been fooling around with other men. Will Judge Lauren be able to solve their mystery? Well, let's see. Here's how it all began.
Ms. Davies, you say that after being with Mr. Hunter for 5 years, he's now given into lies and rumors about your past, scrapped your wedding plans, and is now denying your son Jaden. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Let's not lie, that's a pretty smart move. No man wants to get married to a woman that they can't trust to be around their kids. Ms. Davies still hasn't answered the question Judge Lauren asked her. Why did it take her this long to come to court if her relationship has been rocky all this while? 5 years is a long time.
Well, Your Honor, we met like 5.5 years ago through a mutual friend. I would say that we were happy when we first got together, but then I started finding text messages, phone calls from other females. So at that point of the relationship, Your Honor, I no longer trusted him.
Ow, she's even admitting to the fact that she actually did entertain other men. Interesting. She also says that it went both ways because she found out that Mr. Hunter was also being cozy in the DM with other women as well. A tit-for-tat kind of thing.
Now, once you did that, what happened?
Well, once I did, I briefly had a relationship with the guy. We were sexually together a few times.
Did you use
Why
protection?
shit with me?
A couple times we did not, Your Honor.
What was she expecting him to do? Give her a hug and welcome her with open arms? Like that was ever going to happen. She just admitted to the judge that she was sexual with another man and did not use protection when they were kicking it in bed.
Okay, I couldn't say I was 100% sure at the time, but I wanted Devon to be the father because he has been there in my life for, at this time, we've been together like 2.5 years.
All right, so now we're getting honest now, and
Right.
that's what we're here to do.
Right.
The truth is when you told him you wanted him to be,
Yes.
but you didn't know for certain.
Yes.
She's telling him one thing and now saying a different thing in the courtroom, and why am I not surprised? She initially told Mr. Hunter that she was 100% certain that he was the father. In the courtroom, she's now saying that she wasn't 100% sure he was, but she wanted him to be because they've been together for a long time.
I'm at her house, right? She let me stay over her house. I had been drinking, so I want to go lay down, right? I accidentally fall asleep longer than I'm supposed to, so she's thinking I'm gone. She brings another guy and another girl upstairs into the room.
With that smirking and smile on her face, I guess we know the answer to that question. So, Mr. Hunter caught her in the act of cheating on him with a guy and a girl. Wow, she must really love to have fun, that's for sure. What's funny is that this is different from the guy she admitted to sleeping with.
And she gets up and walks to the kitchen, and she's in the kitchen for like maybe 10, 15 minutes. She's supposed to came back already. I walk around to the kitchen, and she's damn near standing in between this guy's legs. Like, you know what I mean? What is that about?
What is this about? Because you say it
like
hurts
it's
to hear
numerous
you.
times.
Judge Lauren is right. We aren't going to pretend like Mr. Hunter is innocent or a saint in this situation. The fact still remains that everything he accuses her of doing, she admits to having done every single one of them. She carries most of the blame, so it's funny that she's crying.
Does not physically interact with Jaden.
Really?
It's a
Yes,
liar.
Your Honor. We just had a birthday party for Jaden. Devon didn't show up.
Why didn't you show up to the child's birthday party, Mr. Hunter?
And she gonna start tripping on me and all kind of stuff, because we weren't, like at that time, she was mad at me anyway.
There he goes, giving a lame excuse instead of just admitting that he was wrong. What if it turns out that he is the father of the child? Does he think the child is not going to remember that he skipped the birthday party? That's sad, honestly.
The house
'Cause she would kick me
90%
out.
of the time.
She would kick me out like every week.
Yes, because
Every week.
I'm always
Yeah.
finding text messages. You want to come home at 4 and 5 in the morning.
That happened like twice.
So yeah, I was kicking him out.
Twice too many.
I had good reasons though. I had a party. We was at a party.
Even Jerome knows better than to do that. The fact that it happened only twice doesn't mean it's something that should even be happening. Oh well. The results are in, and it's time to see if they're still going to be making wedding plans.
Mr. Hunter, you are not father.
I told you.
Ms. Marks-McGhee wants the defendant to step up and take responsibility for being a father to her child. But here's the catch. The defendant, Mr. Wright, says that she never told him about the baby until he was 3 weeks old and he doubts he is the father of the child. The case starts off like this.
Ms. Marks-McGhee, you say the defendant needs to step up and take responsibility for your 2-year-old son, Amari, because you know he is your son's biological father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh. So there's another guy in the picture. Well, that definition makes things interesting. Mr. Wright Wright says that the only reason she's naming him as the father is because the other man she was messing in bed with wants nothing to do with her child. Pretty heavy accusation.
Convenient distraction.
In my mind, yes. But, you know, like I said, things went further than what they were supposed
When
to
you
go.
say it went further,
I started catching feelings for him.
so it was supposed to be a rebound, then you start having feelings for him, real feelings.
Yes, ma'am. He was there for me a lot. And my other son.
Haha, that explains why she caught feelings. What she wanted to be a rebound ended up being the perfect man for her. No wonder Mr. Wright is smirking like he won the lottery. Oh well, this is why you never use people to get over people. It never ends well.
Did it start off as a rebound for you two, Mr. Wright, or you had feelings from the beginning?
I didn't have feelings in the beginning because I had, you know what I'm saying, when I first met her, I was introduced to her by a friend. In the beginning, she was telling a lot of lies, you know, that I always picked up on, you know.
But if you knew she was lying, why move in with her?
Now we're getting somewhere. It now makes sense when he said he was vulnerable. Mr. Wright tells the judge that he was at a point in his life where he needed somewhere to stay, and that's why he moved in with Ms. Marks-McGhee. He always says that she used to tell a lot of lies when he initially moved in.
Me being in my position, hearing that constantly, what would you think?
Well, I mean, at some point, I'm not gonna lie, Miss Marks-McGhee, you know, you heard the story of the boy that cried wolf.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
become the girl that cried pregnant.
Right, but that wasn't the case.
So what was the issue? You kept thinking you were pregnant or you
No,
weren't?
I thought I was pregnant one time before I really found out that I was pregnant. I wasn't feeling myself. I know how I...
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Slow down, Ms. Marks-McGhee. She told him she was going to get rid of the baby and he ended up seeing pictures of her pregnant on Facebook? It finally makes sense. Guess we see why Mr. Wright said she told a lot of lies.
Okay.
Apparently, she started messing with somebody else, and that's who she tried to put the baby off on.
Oh, in the beginning, she told someone else they were the child's father?
In the beginning, I told Mr. Wright he was the father, but the someone else was the one that I was trying to get over.
Looks like the new word we're going to be adding to our vocabulary is repregnant. Anyway, Ms. Marks-McGhee says that she stopped talking to Mr. Wright, and that's when her ex came back into the picture. Things are really getting interesting at this point.
There's actually one incident I acted as if I was her, texting a friend.
So you text.
Girl, I was like, girl, this guy acting up. She texts back, who? I text back, who do you think? I mean, I'm just waiting, just like, okay, what is she about to say? What is she about to say? A whole different name popped up.
They should have Mr. Wright audition for a spy movie or something. Apparently, he picked up Ms. Marks-McGhee's phone and texted one of her friends, trying to find out if he was the only man she was sleeping with. To his surprise, he wasn't the only one.
And what'd you say?
I asked her who was this guy? And she like, oh, that's a friend, you know, from the past, way back in the day. That's, you know what I'm saying?
Right
And
off the bat,
I
he
can't
asked
sit here
me-
and tell you
He walked
that.
around mad, punching holes in my wall with his head. So I'm asking him, like, what is wrong with you? Like, what do you...
Men, is this a lot? Ms. Marks-McGhee sticks with her story and says that she believes Mr. Wright is the father of her child because they share features that she believes to be alike. If I'm being honest, she's the only one seeing those features because I don't see them.
Even after he was born, you know, I tried to reconcile and, you know what I'm saying, try to be around. She would disappear all the time. Like, I couldn't find her. She won't answer the phone. She's never around. Like she says she's at work. They say she's never came in, but she'll leave with a full work uniform.
No, there's never been a time that I have never went to work because, like I said, I was the one paying the bills.
Even she knows that's a lot of kids for her age. Well, the results are in, and I think it's time we help these guys settle their drama. Is Mr. Wright going to be the father of her child? Let's find that out, shall we?
Mr. Wright, you are not father.
Ms. Cherry has never seen Mr. Johnson until today, yet she's certain he is her father. Mr. Johnson has his doubts, but understands how important this is to her, which is why he's here in court today. Let's hear from Ms. Cherry. Here's how the case begins.
Just looking for closure. I was adopted, within family, so I know who my mother is and everything, but I was adopted within family, and certain family members have always made the statements that my parents just didn't love me and that's why they gave me up.
This is so sad. Nobody wants to hear such a thing. It's the kind of thing that breaks down a person's spirit, telling them their parents abandoned them because they don't love them. After so many years, Ms. Cherry is here to get the closure she needs to move forward from the past hurt.
First of all, very sympathetic to Jennifer and her journey, and I do not believe that I am her father because of things that were told to me over the years. It was told to me that I was her father, and then there was a member.
It's been an emotional roller coaster for Mr. Johnson. First, he was told he was the father, then told he wasn't. No wonder he was never sure enough to be part of Ms. Cherry's life. And for her, it's been a long time without a father. She's 33 years old.
I've My girlfriend was also pregnant, and she had left to go to Ohio. Jennifer's mother sent someone from the neighborhood with a note saying that she wanted to sleep with me, and she was in love with me. At this time, I had a few beers.
Interesting way to hook up. Smooth, too. The fact that they had been together for only one night must be one of the reasons Mr. Johnson didn't and still doesn't believe he is Ms. Cherry's father.
Out she's pregnant. Do you find out?
Yes, I found out through the neighborhood. People in the neighborhood just were coming up to me and telling me, congratulations on your daughter, and I was saying I'm having a son.
So then did you get wind of the fact that they were talking about Miss Cherry's mother?
Mr. Johnson admits he had unprotected sex with Miss Cherry's mother, Dee Dee, but didn't believe she was pregnant for him because of the mismatched timeline. He knew one woman was pregnant for him, though, and that was his girlfriend.
Well, I went to the hospital to visit my son who had been born. And when I got to the hospital, someone had said, "Are you here to see your daughter?"
So again, you're getting this same feedback, like you have a daughter. Did you say, where is this baby?
It does seem harsh that Mr. Johnson never even came to see the baby, but in his defense, he says by then he was told the baby wasn't his, and they claim to already know who the father was. If this unnamed family member really knew the identity of Ms. Cherry's real father, why did they stay silent all these years?
Brett, not pursuing the opportunity to truly find out if Miss Cherry is your biological daughter.
Yes, I actually do regret it, but I did try to reach out and find them. I did not have any names. I did go downtown in 2000 to try to get a blood test, but by that time...
So, Mr. Johnson eventually regretted his actions and tried to find Ms. Cherry and run a DNA test, but couldn't afford to. But a different version of the story was told to Ms. Cherry, which is that Mr. Johnson and her mom signed over their parental rights to her adoptive family. But guess what? Mr. Johnson says he never signed any such thing. Somebody is lying here.
I did a DNA ancestry and it linked me to cousins. I had told them I don't know my father or anything like that, so they asked me for the name. They came literally 10 minutes, was like, we couldn't find anyone with that spelling, but we found someone with this spelling.
After all these years, Mr. Johnson finally sees some resemblance between them. But let's be honest, it's not like he ever tried to notice before. He never put in the effort to find her, while she spent so long searching for him.
The reason why I did submit to pay child support all of her life is because even though I did not believe that she was my child, I knew there was a child out there in need, and that probably needs someone someday to say that they care.
Your Honor, I'm sorry, I don't believe he ever...
Ms. Cherry doesn't believe Mr. Johnson's pity story. If he had cared enough, he would have made an effort to find her at least, and not ship her off to family members as an adopted child.
I'm so sorry you had to grow up without a father, and I'm willing to do DNA for you, but I believe 99% you are. I've always waited for you to contact me. Wow. Mr. Johnson, this doesn't sound doubtful. This says you believe 99%.
You've been waiting her whole life for her to contact you? What does that even mean? Couldn't you have contacted her? All of a sudden, because of some Facebook picture, you believe she's yours and are down for a DNA test. We can't help but feel for Ms. Cherry, who's had to go through all of these because her parents were careless.
I wouldn't say I felt unloved my whole life, and my child questions who my parents are. She knows who her grandparents are from her dad. So when she's questioning me and say, well, Mommy, where's your mom and dad at?
What an emotional and mature exchange. It's time to find out if these two are father and daughter with 3 decades of catching up to do. The results are in.
Mr. Johnson, you are not father.
According to Ms. Jackson, only a fool would believe that Ms. Pickens' daughter, Shazia, is her granddaughter. Ms. Jackson is stepping in for her incarcerated son to contest Shazia's paternity. However, Ms. Pickens points out that these allegations are new because originally she had accepted her daughter.
Never accepted the baby. That's a lie. I stated from day one, I do not believe this is my granddaughter. If I can bring you into my reality.
I want to go in. Tell me what happened.
Okay, she came to my home with her mother.
Ms. Pickens showed up at Ms. Jackson's house with a 4-month-old to announce that her daughter belonged to Ms. Jackson's son, but according to Ms. Jackson, she had never even heard of Ms. Pickens before that day. That must have been a huge shock to her.
Guys, you were sleeping with.
Yeah, he pursued
How many
me.
guys were you sleeping with?
Two.
She don't know.
Two.
She don't know. She
When
don't
I met
know.
him, I had a boyfriend.
Exactly.
Me and the boy stopped.
I'm sorry.
When you met her son,
Yes.
you had a boyfriend.
Yes.
So somehow you get
Yes.
into a relationship with Miss Jackson's son.
Yes.
Will these women calm down? Mrs. Pickens was with multiple partners at the same time, so it's understandable that Ms. Jackson has doubts. But why would you be messing around with another guy every single day while you were in a relationship?
I'm the judge, and I ask the questions, you answer them, okay? Talk to me.
I will. Sorry. I'm just frustrated.
Good one, Judge Lauren. They have to stop yelling at each other if they want this case to come to a reasonable conclusion. Let's keep going.
It's not that guy, it's Miss Jackson's son. When did you change your mind and why?
When he pursued me, calling me and like, oh, well, that's my baby, this, that. So I
So
was
when
like,
you say he pursued you, you
Yes.
meant when you had this baby.
yes.
Okay, so Ms. Pickens has been playing the guessing game ever since she found out about her pregnancy. She initially thought the baby belonged to the other guy she'd been going out with after the affair with Ms. Jackson's son was over. Could that be a lie?
I never took the time and be like, well, she could come over to my house. Well, you can come over to my house and spend, you can come over with
that's-
your daughter and spend the night.
That's
I'm just saying, what,
that's the simple
what,
fact
what grown woman?
because
I'm
my
just saying,
son
but
is
at the end
claiming
of the
this
day,
is
I'm
his
just
child.
saying, but
I
at
told
the
my
same
son,
time,
don't
I'm
be a
just-
fool.
Oh, Ms. Jackson is angry. She really did invite Ms. Pickens and her daughter over, but claims she only did that because her son accepted the child was his. She didn't, and she hasn't still. She doesn't see the resemblance Ms. Pickens says is there. She just wants the results to prove her right.
Mother connection.
You don't have a grandmother connection.
No.
Meaning when you look at the baby, you
I
don't
do
have
not.
that feeling that
Exactly. This is my grandchild. I have two grandchildren that I love dearly and take very good care of them. That she was sleeping with unprotected. Then she claimed to be that another man was the father. So these are the reasons that I have my doubt. She has lied about faking a pregnancy, stated she was pregnant with twins.
Some of Ms. Jackson's reasons are understandable, but grandma instincts? Never heard that one before. How do you expect to feel connected to a child whose mother you obviously dislike and are repeatedly trying to prove wrong? And what is this about Ms. Pickens faking a pregnancy?
Did you
Yes,
lie
I did.
about
Yes,
a second
I did.
pregnancy?
Yes, I was kind of hurt. I was kind of hurt. Yes, I did lie. And the only reason how you know I lied because I told your son that I lied. Yes,
we
you
found
did.
out because
no,
we called the hospital.
No,
and there was no such.
Ms. Pickens took her revenge plot too far, lying about a pregnancy and then claiming you had an abortion? What kind of revenge is that? How do you do this and expect the man and his family to trust you?
I want to understand your position
Okay.
and why you are certain that your grandchild was fathered by Miss Jackson's son.
To me, she looked just like.
This is so messed up. Miss Pickens is only 19, yet she's involved in all this drama. And then, Ms. Jackson is a grandmother of 3 at just 37. These people are going too fast, sleeping with anybody and popping out babies like they are the easiest thing to make in the world.
Your Honor, I do understand your question. And the only thing I can tell you is this. My son, he did say that this is his child, but a woman should know who the father of her. And I have told Markel over and over again, we could have been had this resolved. If this is my grandchild, I will apologize to her. I said this to her on Facebook, and I will take in that child.
Truly, Ms. Jackson isn't wrong for thinking Shazia isn't her granddaughter. And Ms. Pickens cannot put the paternity of her child on a man just because he says he is her father. It does not work that way. It's good that she's ready to accept Shazia if she's proven to be hers, though.
I'm trying to understand. You're his current girlfriend,
Yes.
and you have a child
Correct.
with him.
Correct.
You didn't know of Miss Pickens
At all.
And you say her concern.
About me and Kevin's relationship, then finding if that's Kevin's.
Say this entire.
Could Ms. Jackson and Aaliyah be right? Is Ms. Pickens more concerned about their relationship than her child's paternity? We may never know the answers to these questions, but we do know what the DNA results say. Let's find out.
Mrs. Jackson, you are not her grandmother.
Mr. Buchanan has a history of women lying to him about paternity, so it's no wonder he doesn't trust that his girlfriend's 6-month-old daughter is his, especially since she had an affair with his best friend. Ms. Mystembridge argues that it's this past experience that's fueling his doubts. The Cast W begins like this.
Getting his beer, and this was actually the day after I was incarcerated in a jail under false pretenses. They had the wrong person, and while we was in the car, he had bought some food, and I said, I was eating it, and he was like, "Why are you eating all my food?" And I'm like,
While Mr. Buchanan was locked up, Ms. Stembridge and his best friend had a few drinks, and this pisses Mr. Buchanan off because he knows that their drinking would have transpired into something else, like sleeping together. In addition, he heard that the two of them were sneaking around while he was away.
back. I get out of jail, all right? And I get back. Who calls me? I get a phone call from my ex, all right? My ex is who I was dating before her. All right, I get a phone call. I'm like, yeah, what's up? Okay. Oh, I need to check my girl. Why I need to check my girl?
Ms. Stembridge really brought the clothes to court? These people are hilarious. Instead of denying the allegations that she'd been cuddling up in bed with her boyfriend's best friend, she's trying to prove that her outfit wasn't inappropriate.
Use better language in the court. You walked in and saw what?
Booty in the air.
At the head
of his bed.
Reflection out mirror. Look, better come up and show me. You have a diagram here. What did you see?
I walked in. This is the door to Eric's room. I walked in.
Ms. McNeil has a whole diagram to show how she found Ms. Stembridge on this guy's bed. Isn't that funny and a little suspicious? First off, she made a diagram for this, and she's clearly way too invested in her ex's relationship. And also, is anyone else noticing how Ms. Stembridge has barely been asked a question or given a chance to speak? Feels a bit off, doesn't it?
You have no recollection of her even being in the house.
No, and this was during the daytime. And she called Eric and said, hey, I'm coming over to pick something up. So why would I be bending over to bed like that?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe because
If given the chance, these women will tear into each other, but no one's even talking about the baby. It really feels like this case is more about Mr. Buchanan and his girlfriend's drama than it is about the paternity of his supposed child.
Hey, 2 weeks later, all right? That's why I'm denying that little girl, man. Because I'm gonna tell you what, 2 weeks later and she's pregnant, we took 3 of them. They all came back saying there's something wrong in there, all right? Look at that. I mean, I'm gonna tell you what, I love that little girl all my heart, all right? I love that girl. I don't care if Eric is the dad.
Under Mr. Buchanan's funny facade is a man who genuinely cares about his girl and child. He's hurt that he was cheated on, especially considering he had been wrongfully locked up, and it was with his best friend. Despite all that, he's still a present dad and loves the baby no matter what.
Great
That baby has to have me every night to go to sleep. That baby will not go to sleep unless she has me laying in that bed with her.
He is a great father,
You
Your
have tears
Honor.
in your eyes as you speak about her.
Yeah, that's my life.
If she's not your biological daughter.
Well, we hope he doesn't have to fight for the baby, but before we get to the results, let's see how these two women solve their own fight.
You the one lied to him, but yeah, you got his back. That's funny.
It's funny, you the one that
That's funny.
never
That's
had
why
my
you
back.
wanted to come to Carolina with me.
Have
when you
a
still,
seat, Miss
when you were still
McNeil.
pregnant.
Oh, these women are crazy. Mr. Buchanan sure has a lot on his plate. There's no more time to waste. Let's get to the results already.
Mr. Buchanan, you are her father.
Thank you.
That's a blessing.
She had sex with his best friend and multiple men. At least this is what Mr. Gonzalez argues today in court. Ms. Salvo and Mr. Gonzalez were a match made in heaven, or so they thought. But today, these two cannot seem to agree on a single thing.
Your Honor, I can't stand him. He knows Amaya's his daughter, but he refuses to take care of him. I've never, ever had sex with any Hispanic man but him. I prefer black people. I don't like Hispanic men. I was intoxicated at the time.
What an interesting revelation from her very first retort in court. She does not like Hispanic men, I see. Oh, Ms. Salvo, nobody asked about your sexual preference. If you're so particular about Hispanic men, explain the Hispanic baby in court right now. You were drunk, huh?
Now, Ms. Salvo, you claim that this testimony is false. It's incorrect.
Yes, Your Honor. The whole part 6 times. That's ridiculous. It wasn't even good, so why would I keep going?
So you had sex with Mr. Gonzalez.
What a woman. She is right, though. It takes just one time. Now, here's the question. Who's lying between them? Is it Mr. Gonzalez with his 6-time count or Ms. Salvo with his 1-time hit? Regardless of what it is, someone is definitely going to have a mountain of regret.
Now, is that the only reason you excluded your ex-boyfriend?
Yes.
Is because you felt like Amaya looked Hispanic and not black?
She has too much of him. She looks way too much. The dimple, she has one dimple just like he does. The shape of his eyebrows.
Well, would you look at that? Every single time, one person in court always feels entitled to the semblance card. If Ms. Salvo thinks her baby belongs to Mr. Gonzalez simply because she looks like him, she really has no valid point, especially after having sex with other men. Who's to say that her ex-boyfriend does not have Hispanic ancestry?
My doubt is, I took my best friend over there to her house. 5 days later, I get in the car with my best friend. He's Hispanic, Puerto Rican. He tells me, I'm sorry, Julio, but I gotta show you something. I'm like, what you mean you gotta show me something? He showed me.
Your best friend had naked pictures of Miss Salvo.
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Salvo?
Whoa. She did what? Now, why was Mr. Gonzalez's friend at her house? More so, how do the pictures exist if Ms. Salvo never takes naked pictures? Like she said, these pictures are suggestive, and Mr. Gonzalez has nothing to gain from lying about them. Now, again, who is lying between these two?
About being, I guess what you would call it, fast, that was when 18 and under. Yeah, I was young and dumb. I was a kid. I did everything with whoever at that time. I conceived my daughter.
Whoa. Let's get one thing straight first. She was pregnant with her baby when she was, what? The amount of teenage pregnancies on paternity court is absolutely alarming. Also, Ms. Salvo is admitting to being promiscuous. Now, all that is left is to figure out which of them is lying.
This Mexican guy, he keep looking mad at me like he want to fight me or something. I asked, actually, why that guy so mad at me? Why he looked like he want to fight me? Oh, because he wanted to be the baby daddy, but I tell him you're the baby daddy.
Oh my goodness. What are these stories about different men coming up at various intervals? Why is a random man from her elementary school coming into her life right now? If truly it was elementary school, why then did he want a baby by you? Damn.
Mr. Gonzalez, it seemed as if you were hoping Amaya was your daughter.
I want Amaya to be my daughter.
You do?
Yeah, I don't want her. It's not her fault she's here in this world. She's an innocent little girl. The baby used to come to my house. She used to eat in my house. My mom used to get her stuff.
Oh, what a woman. Bless her dear soul. She did all of that for the baby amidst the thick fog of doubt in the air that the baby may not be her son's. It really helps nobody when one person says one thing and the other person claims another story. Now that all of the fog is gone, we simply cannot wait to get the results.
Child. And if she is your biological child,
I would like to have weekends.
You're going to step up to the plate?
Yes, ma'am.
And do what needs to be done to care for this beautiful little girl? Well, Jerome, I'm ready for the results.
What a guy. Now, we get to find out whose story holds water, from Ms. Salvo denying all the cheating allegations to Mr. Gonzalez, claiming that his fiancée slept with 1 million men, and some. Who made the mistake and who is going to regret their silly decisions?
Mr. Gonzalez, it has been determined by this court that you are not the father.